Happy New Year, Stars fans, and hope you enjoyed that New Year's Eve blowout. The Dallas Stars gave us a glimpse of what they're capable of. Let's dive into this one next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer, 105 Through the Fan, and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to 2024, and the Dallas Stars completely destroyed the Chicago Blackhawks last night by a final score of 8-1. Just a truly dominating performance. I could not believe my eyes for 60 minutes of that hockey game, and it was truly glorious. It was so fun to watch, and what a celebration it was at the American Airlines Center last night. We are going to try to dig into everything, but the most important thing and the theme I want to try to keep with is I think that's a glimpse of what the Dallas Stars can be, even if it is the Chicago Blackhawks at the end of the day. The defense continues to produce offensively and is getting better in their own zone, which is very, very important. And let's go ahead and round out today's episode with 2024 resolutions for the Dallas Stars. Might as well get into the spirit and join the trend as well. Who cares about personal resolutions that we're going to give up in a month? Am I right, Stars fans? But first, before we jump into this 8-1 victory, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So this is what I believe Pete DeBoer has been imagining since puck drop on opening night against the St. Louis Blues about 3.5 months ago. We're getting a glimpse of what the Stars can be. And look, at the end of the day, it's the Chicago Blackhawks. Both of these clubs are going in completely opposite directions at this point in the season. But at the same time, Chicago had been playing really good hockey coming into this little weekend set. The Stars, of course, surrendered a 2-goal lead late in the game on Friday. Roope Hintz with a wonderful hat trick to cap off that victory. Mason Marchment follows it up with a hat trick here last night. Back-to-back games with hat tricks for the Dallas Stars. I believe the last time that happened was Jason Robertson, and I think he did it consecutively, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, incredible, as hats were flying all over DFW this weekend. But we're getting a glimpse of this team reaching its ceiling to some degree. Depth scoring, very strong defense, mobility from the back end, jumping up in the rush, defending with strength and being physical, just taking the will out of your opponents. And I'll preface it. It is the Chicago Blackhawks, but I'm glad it is. And you showed how clearly better you are than that team. That is something we have not seen a ton of, even though they do now have 3 8-goal performances, which is the most in the National Hockey League. But this just felt like the most complete out of all of those. Tampa Bay didn't really show up in the 8-1 shellacking at the beginning of the month, but Chicago just couldn't handle the wave and power and skill that the Stars possess, which is no surprise, right? I would like to see that performance, but man, I mean, 8-1, and of course, Marchment gets the hat trick, which was pretty incredible. But I mean, it was right off the hop. Depth scoring. We've been preaching it for years. Craig Smith, Sam Steele scores twice. He's been phenomenal in the month. He now has, I think, 9 points in December alone. He had 2 points, I think, entering December. I've said it before the beginning of the season. I thought he was going to become a fan favorite. He's been so productive. And what a move by DeBoer, too, to healthy scratch Faksa. Chicago's a young, very energetic team, and they showed it in spurts, of course, last night. And the Stars handled it well. Wedgewood was phenomenal. I mean, Chicago could have scored a few more times. The chances got a bit more even as the game went along, but the Stars outchanced Chicago 36-25. But the Blackhawks certainly had some looks. And that's a credit to them. They didn't go away. Wedgewood was really, really good in the contest too. But guys like Sam Steele and Radek Faksa, as I was getting to my point about DeBoer, great move by putting Dellandrea back in. Blackhawks are a quick team. They're young. They're going to have their legs. Steele provides a bit more speed at the center spot. Dellandrea, it's going to be fresh. He's going to be hungry. Played a really good game too. It just jumped right into the fray. That fourth line was great. The top line is finding itself. It's dominating again. And look, it was the Blackhawks the last two games, but Roope Hintz has been shot out of a cannon a few times. A beautiful little goal batted out of midair. His team leading 15th goal of the season. Marchment now has 13 goals on the year. Remember, that guy couldn't find the back of the net to save his life last season. And Duchesne, of course, has been a great addition to unlocking that skill. But Marchment with a 4-point night. Seguin has a 3-point night. Just you name it, somebody had it. It felt like Jamie Benn, Dellandrea, Johnston, and Dodonov were the only forwards that did not register a point in the game. They were actually the only players to not register a point. Everybody on the back end did. Heiskanen and Lundqvist both had 2 assists. I thought Lundqvist looked okay in his return. I'm going to touch on him a bit more tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. I thought Pete DeBoer had a very intriguing answer about him, and I would love to kind of dive into that more. But Harley, Lindell, Suter, Hakanpaa, as the defense continues to be so productive, that's why I want to talk about how defense wins championships here as well. And not just defensively. They're getting involved in all parts of the game. But man, they outclassed them. 41 shots on goal. They won 54% of their draws. A power play goal, as they got a few of those here in the past 2 games, which is good to see. Just an all-around really, really nice performance from the Stars. Marchment ended up having a game score. This, of course, is via hockey stat cards. He had a game score of 5.32, one of the highest on New Year's Eve. Yeah, he was so good in 4 points. Miro continues to be just dominant. He only had to play 19 and a half minutes, so he got to play under 20, which was good. They needed one of these games too, where they could win comfortable. They have allowed Miro to rest a little bit, but he had a expected goals forward of 0.73. Lindell had a goals forward of 1.07, which was the highest on the Stars. I mean, there's just so many guys you can shout out. But like I said, I come back to this. This is a glimpse of what this entire team can be in 2024 and beyond come playoff time. I mean, depth scoring, just defending as a 5-man unit, being in sync, connected, and blocking shots is something I thought was really, really great last night too. There was a conscious effort getting in shooting lanes. Of course, they gave up the power play goal. That was a pretty tic-tac-toe play from Chicago, but this is a glimpse of how good the Stars can be. And yes, it was against the Chicago Blackhawks. It's not going to be as easy against the Vegas Golden Knights and the Los Angeles Kings. And I'm not going to get ahead of myself here and try to convince you that it will be. But this is a type of team you can expect. They can score with the best of them. 3rd in the National Hockey League at home. They're just pouring it on. They've won 5 straight now. I think it's 6 straight now at home, which is a phenomenal sign because they have a 4-game little homestand here coming up. I touched on it at the beginning of last week. A 10-game stretch is huge right now, dating back to that St. Louis game. They've now won 2 of the 3. let's keep it rolling. You got some very, very beatable opponents coming in. And look, everybody pays their players. And you all gotta battle it out each and every night. And the Stars certainly did last night. Happy New Year, by the way, Stars fans. How about that little present and gift for you guys? By the way, when Jake Oettinger went down on December 15th here, midway through the month, Scott Wedgewood has gone 6-1-1, and Dallas is still top of the Central Division. And that's also with the Stars. They've given up over 3 goals in 8 games in December. And they've had to have some offense, and they've had to have Wedgewood in some spots. He has been an unsung hero, not to me by any means. I almost touch on it every game, I feel like, since Otter went down. I have to say, Wedgewood continues to keep the Stars in games. And that's all you can ask for. That is all you can ask for. It has been incredible. Look, his numbers are not Vesna level. He's not going to get any recognition at the end of the year. But by golly, you need to put some respect on the Wedge wall, because without him, Dallas could have really, really went to the basement. They really could have. It's not that impossible with how leaky they've been in some certain spots. They've certainly tied it up here towards the end of the month. So welcome to 2024. If we can get this Dallas Stars team on most nights, man, we can be very happy. And what makes me happy is this defense that produces offense and plays together no matter what pairing, and you can just interchangeable parts, so to speak. And I have to touch on it because defense wins championships, right? That's the old adage, but not necessarily, it feels like, in the modern day of hockey. And that's why we're going to dip into some of those offensive numbers in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, Stars fans, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet. Guys, I've been telling you about those Dallas Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb. I've told you, you don't have to bet the Cowboys to win, because who knows what's going to happen if they're away from AT&T Stadium. Maybe they need the stripes to help them out every once in a while, but CeeDee Lamb, I've told you, hammer all the overs. Yeah, he went over for 200 against the Lions the other day. And that's what's so great about FanDuel. You have live same-game parlays, find bets, and explore. Make a parlay as well. Tap in with Prescott and CD, because to be honest, the only way CD is going to get yards is by Prescott throwing it to him. So you can kind of lump them together, make a lot of money while watching football. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Before we jump in to the wonderful decor, can't believe I'm even kind of saying that from some of the performance we've said. A very adequate defensive core right now, is how I'll put it, for the Stars. But let me relish in the victory of last night. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today, 24/7, covering the top sports stories, local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go ahead, go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube, subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So I touched on this at the beginning of the month too, where Dallas has been getting production from the back end, because for the first 2 months of the season, they ranked in the bottom 3 in terms of points percentage from the back end. Now they're getting it consistently. They've had some offensive revelation from certain guys, such as Jani Hakanpaa, who had 6 points entering yesterday's game. Of course, he picks up another assist. He had the incredible game winner against Nashville. Miro leads the way with 15 points in 14 games in the month. Harley's right behind him. Harley finished with 5 goals and 6 assists. So he has 11 points. Lindell's right there too. Lindell and Hakanpaa having these nights on a consistent basis is so huge. Yes, they are shutdown penalty killers, and they have been for Dallas. And do I love them as a pairing all the time? No. Heck no, I don't. They can get caught in their own zone against very good teams because they're not very fleet-footed and mobile. But credit where credit is due, they've been much better in joining the rush, especially Essa Lindell, providing options and lane integrity. Like the Stars, especially from their defensemen, have had great lane integrity. Just guys going to the net, opening up options, especially off the rush. You see Miro do it all the time where he dances his way into the zone, plays it off to a wing, and continues to center lane drive. He draws the defense with him. Lindell's been doing that. The Suter goal was very similar, where Miro drives in, he lays it off to Robertson. Then you have that lane open up behind him. Suter's wide open. You hit Suter, and then boom, Suter buries it for his first of the season. So, yeah, suck it, all you Suter haters out there. Look, I have my problems with him too. Not as much as others, but I had to slip that in there. Lundqvist ended up with 3 points here in the last few games against Chicago. I like the way he looked. I think it was partly due, it's an easy team to get Lundqvist in. I believe he'll probably be out here. Maybe not against Montreal. They might like to rock with it. I know DeBoer is kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But he's been a little bit more inclined to kind of change up the lineup every once in a while. I think part of it was Chicago's not a very good team. We should be fine, and we can throw Lundqvist in there. And also, Lundqvist needs to get games at the end of the day. I mean, they need to play him. He ended up only playing 5 games in the month. And he played his first 2 consecutive games and probably about a month. He was scratched, I think, for 10 out of the last 12 or something like that. So it was good to see him get in, of course. But Lindell, Hakanpaa are really key factors for the Stars if they want to get where they want to be. Because, look, that's what they're dealt with right now. And yes, they need to make a move at some point. They need another defenseman, a right shot specifically. They just don't have that right now. So if they can chip in the way they are, then the Stars are going to be much better. And I think if the defense is playing this way, this is like the ceiling for the Stars at this point. And I don't think it's good enough to win a Stanley Cup. I don't. I've said it before multiple times, though, but that was one of the better performances of the year. Even against a bad team, I thought it was a really, really strong 60 minutes. And yes, there were stretches in there where they didn't look good and Chicago was playing well. But look, that's the hockey. Every team's going to have those. It's just not going to be as easy and free-flowing against better teams in the league. But man, the Stars also in New Year's Eve home games, 14-5-3. They average over 3.5 goals, and they give up less than 2, a plus 38 goal differential. So how about that? New Year's Eve has been a great tradition in DFW, and the American Airlines Center was rocking last night. So I'm sure many of you enjoyed it if you were in person. And yeah, that was a ton of fun. And you shut down Bedard, by the way. I mean, Connor Bedard was pretty much non-existent in both games. He did get an assist, of course, yesterday, but they held him off the score sheet for the most part. They didn't give him a ton of looks. He did hit the post too early in the first period, but they did really good against a very special, talented player. They kind of had him out of sorts, which is hard to do sometimes. And I kind of the first team to do it, especially consecutively. I was feeling like, yeah, Bedard may have a game here. The Hawks broadcaster mentioned that he probably played his worst game on Friday of the season. You're like, that can't be good, because if he comes out and is firing all cylinders here tonight, it might be a long one. But they were able to keep him in check. And of course, the Blackhawks are just, going a different direction. Their back end had some fits. They fed the Stars. They turned the puck over a lot. But I just love what this D-core has been doing, really since the second half of this month. They committed 6 takeaways, ended up just 11 giveaways on the night for Dallas, and plus minuses everywhere. +3 for Miro Heiskanen, +3 for Niels Lundqvist, +3 for Ryan Suter, +2 for Esa Lindell. Just little glimpses like that. And of course, it's an 8-1 victory. Like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pluses, but they've had some really ugly performances, to say the least. And we all know that. But more importantly, this is the type of production that they get with the personnel they have right now to at least taste, have a look, a peek into what they can be come April, June, when it really matters most. But they need some fixes, and that's what's going to lead us into 2024 resolutions. What are your 2024 Dallas Stars resolutions? I feel like we're going to be beating a dead horse on this one, but hey, that's what we're going to do, okay? It's a new year. It's a new Stars. It's a new me. It's a new all of us, okay? Let's go ahead and do some of those resolutions in just a moment. Alrighty, here we go. Once again, be sure to go on YouTube right now, Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. They have top stories with our local experts, plus our national shows, getting you all that good stuff. So please be sure to go ahead and hit subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Stars too. Thank you to all you everydayers out there in 2023, 2024. It's going to be even better. I hope I can continue to provide great content and have a lot of fun. Hopefully the Stars make a great run. Be sure to follow Locked On Stars Today wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyTheJet19 there too. Just throw all kinds of crap out on there too. On my opinions, I'd be spewing stuff. And sometimes you catch more of my work. Some of my play-by-play work where I'm having a lot of fun screaming about the team I covered. Anyways, speaking of screaming, the Dallas Stars maybe screamed a couple times last night. Just because of how great they were. But my 2024 resolutions for the Dallas Stars. And of course, my top priority is going to be another right shot defenseman. But that's a bit, kind of easy to choose from. But more importantly, I would love for them to creep back into the top 10 of goals against average. I know I mentioned this on my Christmas wish list, but it really rings true. It's so important for the Dallas Stars to get back within the top 10. They're averaging over 3 goals per game now, which is about middle of the pack at 3.09. That's just not going to hold. They need to dip back in there, and I hope with Otter that comes back and comes down a little bit. I hope with the defense continuing to kind of work out these kinks and become a bit more consistent and not allow so many, grade A chances. I hope that brings it down, but it really is just the defense in general is like the 2024 resolution for the Stars. They need some help. They have holes. If they can fix that, man, you'll feel so good about where the Dallas Stars are heading because the offense has been just lights out. You cannot ask for more from your offense at this point in the season. Duchesne has been a great free agent signing. They're getting depth. And for the first time, too, you're starting to see a couple of lines going at first. For the first 35 games or so, it's been, the Marchment line has been the most consistent. But when they were down, then the top line was kind of going. The Johnston line early was really good. But now you're getting multiple lines pressing and playing well together that it's like, okay, yeah, the Stars are really now seeing their potential. So, of course, that's the big resolution of the year is just the defense in general needs a bit of an overhaul. And I think an easier one, too, for me is just to have Jake Oettinger fully healthy. 100%. He's skating right now. DeBoer did mention that he's probably a lot. I should say he's not as close. He's more further along. He's further along. He's progressing, but it's not going to be as soon, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, the Stars are winning. This is a nice, easy stretch for them. No reason to rush him back. I don't know if he was fully healthy coming into the year. I mean, they say he was, of course, coming off his surgery, but was he? They're not going to disclose that all the time. I don't know. Was that lingering? I don't know. And that's just me speculating, okay? But look, if he had something ailing him during the year, let him sit till the middle of January. If the Stars continue to win, if they were losing, it'd be a lot different. And you're like, okay, like you need to get back. But right now, Wedgewood's holding down the fort. Otter, take your time. That's a huge resolution, though. Just be fully healthy. Like, we'd love to have you when it matters most. Stars are hanging around in the top 3 of the Central Division. We need Otter fresh and ready to go come playoff time and for a huge push. But wow, what a fun game. A New Year's Eve blowout for the Dallas Stars, taking down Bedard and the Blackhawks by a final score of 8-1. Please let me know your 2024 resolutions for the Dallas Stars as well. I'm sure many of you have many other points and objections about the Stars that maybe you want to fill. And I'm certainly interested to hear in those. Maybe a certain player, an individual could use something. Speaking, Wyatt Johnston. Oh, my Lord, that man can't score. And he's had so many good looks. Once he does, it's going to be a bloodbath for the league. Unfortunately, the sophomore slumps kind of come to town, but not really a sophomore slump where he's disappeared. It's just he can't find twine. So that would be another resolution. Just Wyatt Johnston, please score. We need you. And hopefully he can start contributing here shortly, because he's dying to. Absolutely. But how about that? An old-fashioned, just complete shellacking of the Chicago Blackhawks on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year again. I'm going to continue to say it. 2024. I hope it brings you a ton of great things, fully healthy, and a lot of fun. Should be a fun year. Once again, thank you so much, as always, for the love and support. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe right here on YouTube. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. That's not changing here in 2024. Shout out to you everydayers, and thank you so much for rocking along with us. Been so much fun. Well, that'll wrap up today's edition of Locked On Stars. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Stars back in action tomorrow against the Montreal Canadiens at home. A lot of games here in kind of succession. It's going to be a busy few weeks, which is good. Stars are on a roll. Let's keep them playing and hopefully picking up a few more points. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the new year, and we will see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.